Hi, and welcome back. Another day of grace, another day to give thanks and rejoice, even when we're in quarantine. This is Philippians chapter 1. We are at verse 28 today, and we're going to go all the way through the end of the chapter. So Philippians 1:28 picks up in the middle of a sentence, not a great place to start, but just pick it up where it goes. So Paul is writing to these Philippians, writing from jail, saying, I know that you are going to keep your stand. You'll stand firm in the Spirit. You'll strive together as one for the faith of the gospel. Okay, verse 28. You're going to do that without being frightened in any way by those who oppose you. This is a sign to them, the people who oppose them, who will oppose them. It'll be a sign to them that they'll be destroyed, but that you will be saved, and that by God. For it has been granted to you on behalf of Christ not only to believe in him, but also to suffer for him. Since you're going through the same struggle you saw I had, and now hear that I still have. So this is a personal section here, Paul telling the Philippians that they very well might undergo some persecutions for their faith in a kind of way that we are not used to. This closing of churches and other schools, and it might feel like a religious persecution. It's really not. We're in the same boat as businesses and every other religion in the world. This isn't at all what the Philippians were about to undergo, or what Paul was experiencing in the moment as he was writing this letter from inside a prison for talking about Jesus. None of us here at Bethel have experienced that, although we do have Christian brothers and sisters around the world who are going through that, and even at this moment, they've been through it. He says that it's been a gift to you if you get a chance to suffer for Jesus and you hold firm. In verse 29, he says that's a gift, just like believing in Jesus was a gift. Well, now you get to suffer for Jesus, suffer for the name of Jesus. Take it as a gift from the Lord. Hard concept to even consider. How could that be a gift? Well, another verse that comes to mind is that for me, to live is Christ, and to die is gain. It's all going to be about him. He's going to be the central character in my life. After all, he saved me. He won me. He purchased me at the cost of his body and his blood. And so, of course, whatever happens to me, let it be done to further his name and to promote him, even above myself. The interesting part for how do we compare ourselves to these verses is in 28. Don't be frightened in any way by those who oppose you. It's a sign to them that they'll be destroyed, but you'll be saved, and by God. When you cling to your Christian faith, he's saying, and people see how certain you are that Jesus lives, and because he lives, you also will live. He's your resurrection and your life, so that even if you're put to death, you're going to keep right on living, and he'll put your body and soul back together. People are weirded out by that sometimes, especially if they're very against you, against that belief. They can't stand that you are so confident about it, and it'll just freak them out. It shows up like a sign to them. What are we messing with? And maybe with a hard enough conscience, they'll still mess with you anyways. But in their heart of hearts, they got to be thinking, what are we doing? This person is devout. This person is sure. I better just not mess with them. They might, but you will be saved. That is the promise. You'll be saved by the same God who's given you faith, the same God who has saved you, the same God who will welcome you even after you've breathed your last breath in this life. Now, for us, we can't really intimidate a virus into being frightened of us. We can't show the virus a sign that it will be destroyed. It's not a living creature. It's not a human. If you had human enemies, that's one thing. These verses are more talking about human persecutors. For us, a virus is a different beast. You can be mad at its existence in creation. You can be frustrated, and you can recognize that this is not how Adam and Eve were ever created to live, with viruses attacking their bodies that they have no defenses for. This is part of living in a fallen world, so pray against it. Pray for protection and for a cure against it. And pray for this not to go on for so very long. Paul was going through a struggle, and he was able to encourage people, the Philippians. Look, you might go through this same thing. Use my example as an encouragement. We have very few Christians as examples for us of going through something like this. Back in the plague times, when diseases would wipe through and ravage the cities, I guess we can look back at those. I recently saw some church newsletter snippets from about 100 years ago when the Spanish flu was going through Christian churches, Lutheran churches. And how are they dealing with something like this? Well, pretty much the same way we were. They didn't meet for several weeks. They were kind of frustrated by it and wished they could be together, but they recognized at the same time, for the health of everybody, we're going to have to be apart for a little bit. So they used the mail. I think they just sent out word and kind of spread the word about, we're not going to be able to meet for a while. And then finally, after several weeks, they were able to get back together. They looked back on that and said, wow, that was weird, but we're glad to be able to be back together again. I look forward to being back together with you sometime soon. Until then, Jesus keep you safe and send his angels to watch over you and keep you close to him, especially your heart, your faith, no matter what kind of persecutions you are going through.